YouTube, I've been thinking about this whole personal legend business. And perhaps you know what I'm talking about, perhaps you don't. Where I first majorly encountered it, I mean, besides the whole be yourself stuff that they tell you in school and everywhere else in the entire world, was in the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, who is a Portuguese author. He's very famous in Latin America, and his books have been translated in several languages. But The Alchemist deals with personal legends, and how if you don't ever go and try to be and accomplish your personal legend, then you'll never achieve it. But you always want to. See, the thing is, YouTube, I have this tendency to read and write in 2 languages. But before I started doing all these YouTube videos, I actually started wondering what I wanted to do here. I always have this idea that I'll never know what to do unless I go in with a clear purpose. And so I wanted to come into doing this with a clear purpose. And so that's why I had everything laid out how I wanted it to be, but I also knew that if I wanted to start something, I had to probably edit how I do it over time. But I kind of wrote this manifesto type deal, which I wrote on New Year's Eve when I was babysitting my nephews, and I was interrupted with it by a screaming baby, a 5-year-old who peed the bed, and a cat that licks you a lot. If that isn't just the way to come up with it, I don't know what is. It started off with me wanting to emulate John Green. And the fact of the matter is I can't emulate John Green because I can't be John Green. Nobody is a carbon copy of anybody else. But that doesn't stop me from wanting to be him. After all, why wouldn't you want to be him? He's an accomplished author. He is rather well known on YouTube. He has done several good things for the YouTube community and outside the YouTube community, not including Your Pants. But it does include Project for Awesome and VidCon. But in my fervor of wanting to be John Green and wanting to create educational content for YouTube to decrease world suck and increase awesomeness, I started to lose sight of myself, of creating something that was truly mine, of being somebody who was me. Now, I wrote that when I was 20, and the thing is, when I was 20 I wanted to be John Green, and now that I'm 21 I want to be myself. But so here I am on Legendary Monday talking about the personal legend, and how I've come to realize how important it is. How you can't ever be yourself if you're always trying to emulate somebody. And you can't create original content if you're trying to emulate somebody else. You have to do it by yourself. And for some people that's a terrifying idea. To do something by yourself without help from somebody else, without even creative license borrowed from somebody else. You have to have creative license that's all your own. That is terrifying, because you never know how it will be accepted by anybody, you never know how it will be rejected, and granted there's haters everywhere, so why would you ever want to post anything anyway? Besides, how do you know what you're creating is original content? How can you ever know that? How can you ever know that something has never been thought of before? How? But the fact of the matter is, you know when you are being yourself. Because nobody can be a carbon copy of somebody else. They can be similar, but they will never ever be the same. Never ever. And in that, I kind of take this solace, because I can talk here and be ridiculous, which I'm very good at. Being ridiculous, not necessarily the whole talking. The whole Spanish language, English thing kind of impedes my English proficiency, like terribly. You have no idea how many takes I do to not have a huge issue when I'm on camera. Because as original as I can be, nobody wants to hear somebody stuttering through their English words, whether they are 21, 55, whatever. Nobody wants to hear it because it breaks this fluency here. But that's a different topic. I read an article in Esquire magazine last night. It is the last full article at the end. It's about essentially radicalism that's springing up in the States in the last 2 decades-ish. But what it references is how the U.S. society is vastly and fastly degrading. How we are going from a united, coalesced country to separated, to against each other. They called it shrapnel. For those of you who don't know what shrapnel is things when they are shot out of a gun or out of a cannon barrel. They are designed to break apart in the air, or maybe are not even coalesced at all. And so then they will hit things, and they will hit each other and break more, and then they will do even more damage. Shrapnel comes from grape shot, which was developed by the French revolutionaries in the 1700s. But it talked about how this society is just spreading shrapnel everywhere, and we're just falling apart. And that gave me the idea that original content is kind of like shrapnel, hopefully. Work with me here. But it's not that it's breaking other things apart, except that it is. It's breaking other people into doing their own thing, to be original, to do their own original content. And that's good. That's good. Because I don't have to be Philip DeFranco. Because everybody knows I'm not as funny as Philip DeFranco. And I don't play in a band like Wheezy Waiter does. And I don't look like a terrorist like Cassim G. You know, there are different things for different people, different strokes for different folks. And that kind of is like shrapnel because it convinces other people to do their own thing. And that's good. That's good. In this sense, shrapnel is good. It's like we were hit with the shrapnel of originality. So the fact of the matter is, I don't have to be John Green. Even though I wrote this entire, manifesto about how I wanted to be John Green because he is so awesome, he's so educational, he's revolutionary on YouTube doing educational content that people like and doing awesome things. But I don't have to be John Green. And that's fantastic. Because I can't be, because no one's a carbon copy of another. Because we all have our own personal legends to fulfill. And I would much rather fulfill my own personal legend than fulfilling John Green's, or Philip DeFranco, or Wheezy Waiter, or Ray William Johnson, because they're all completely different people. And they're all completely different from me, and they're completely different from Shay Carl, and whoever else. So Legendary Monday is all about your personal legend. And don't let somebody else take that legend away from you and tell you have to be like somebody else. Because you were made to be original. Keep that in mind.